we have a very special young lady. Connie has been back and forth with us a couple times, and I'm going to just do a little introduction in Connie. Connie is a wonderful soul that you have been seeing tonight, busting her butt for us. She's also got some demons and monkeys on her back, and I think Connie wants to tell you a little bit about herself and what's going on in her world.
You want me to start from the beginning?
What would you? Synopsis? I would like. Connie has a history that is a little hard to talk about, but let's start where it started.
Okay. Basically, I was married to a very abusive man, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, psychologically, every way imaginable except for sexually. Thank goodness. And I had 4 beautiful children with that said man. And he started to bring drugs home, and wanted me to use them with him, and I did, because I had hoped maybe he would keep his thing in his pants and be the husband and the father that he should have been, and it didn't turn out that way. I eventually became addicted to opiates, and then the opiates turned to using a needle with the opiates. Then the opiates and the needles turned to using the needle and heroin. And I had my very first arrest in March of 2013, and all 4 of my children were removed from me. I went to rehab, went to a 120-day program, completed it. I completed intensive outpatient therapy. I completed relapse prevention, everything, even before I was even sentenced to my very first arrest. And then once I was sentenced, me thinking I have it all under control, I moved back to my hometown, to the same man, to the same people. And I relapsed within a month. And then 2 weeks after my relapse, I overdosed in my 8-year-old son's lap. And I went to prison. I ended up being in 2 different county jails and 2 different prisons, all in a matter of 10.5 months. And then when I got out, I moved here to Shelbyville. And I started out doing really good, seeing my children. And then my ex-husband, still using, didn't have them. His mother did. And she took my visits away. She took the one thing that gave me purpose to continue to live every single day. So I started to do meth. I needed something, and I knew I couldn't go back to heroin because it almost killed me once. I moved to Greensburg, got a job in a factory, thought I had everything under control, and eventually the same demon was just right on my back with the addiction. And I got arrested again, January of 2017. And the worst part about it is that day I found out my body was able to rid itself of the hepatitis C that I had gotten from using needles and water, and anything that you use with other people can give it to you. And then that night I got arrested for the methamphetamine in my system. They couldn't do that but get me for the OWI, so they took me to the hospital, took my blood and my urine, and it was positive. I came to Rupert's then. Someone had been telling me about it for the entire time after I was out of prison until I got that arrest. Go to Rupert. And I was like, no, that's not for me. It's not for me. And Rupert told Miss Kay and Miss Georgette that he didn't think I was going to make it. He didn't think I was going to get through the first 2 weeks of the probationary period. And then I did. I got put on 6 months of probation for that last arrest. And I was doing really good working with Rupert and Miss Kay and Georgette. We had a lady coming in from Indy doing therapy that I absolutely positively loved. I loved going and talking to her. I thought I was just going in there to just have something to take up my days, because I had a job. Yes, it's very difficult to find a job as a felon, but it's possible. Very low paying jobs most of the time, unfortunately. I just need something to take up my daytime. And eventually I realized it wasn't just taking up my daytime and keeping me clean sober. It was teaching me to be self-sufficient, independent, and my self-worth grew a little bit, but not enough, clearly, because I thought I didn't need Rupert's no more. So I left Rupert and Miss Kay and Miss Georgette and the Pats, who been there behind me too. And about 2 months ago, I ended up getting sick, and I relapsed yet again. So this is not a one-time thing. This is not a 4-time thing. This is a 20, 25, 30, maybe even until you die. It depends on you and how you want to go about it. And when I got sick, I went back to the demon I didn't think I would ever go back to. I went back to the heroin. And it took me getting sick, getting on that, and pretty much losing 20 pounds in 4 weeks. I looked like a skeleton when I looked in the mirror. I did not like what it looked like anymore. Meeting into people that don't use anymore, who are clean people, who are good people for me to be around, and going back to Rupert, Miss Kay, Miss Georgette, to finally get me to get off of the horse that I was on. I love to dance with my demon. Who wouldn't want to not feel anything? Who wouldn't want to have to not think about anything? I got my very first clean drug screen back 2 Mondays ago. This Monday will be my third week. Unfortunately, I was a nurse when I started to do drugs. I wasn't a nurse before. I wasn't a nurse after. I was a nurse when I started to do drugs. I saved a young man's life at Waffle House on 9 in 2015 by performing CPR. This does not discriminate against any career, race, gender, ethnicity, religion. It doesn't discriminate. I knew a man who was a pharmacist for 40 years and had his license revoked because he was prescribing himself speed. It can happen to anyone. I am a sister. I am a daughter. I am a mother. I am a friend. And this is the real me. I will carry the marks of my use on my body for the rest of my life. And I will carry my demon, who always sits on my shoulder, for the rest of my life. That's all I have to say.